So Riot just fixed a bug that I discovered 2 years ago, which also led me to invent the most skill expressive combo that Samira has. Here's why that's bad. On September 11th, 2001, thousands of people lost their lives in the Twin Tower attack. For every 16 people active in the buildings, roughly 3 of them lost their lives. This was a major tragedy, and it's sad that this many people died to a terrorist attack. Inversely, out of the 16 Samira bugs that Riot has patched, only 3 of them positively affected Samira's gameplay. Out of those 3 bugs, only a single one of them made a difference being patched and was actually noticeable, which was the Q not dealing proper crit damage, and this was patched only a single month after Samira's original release in Season 10. The other 2 don't really ever make a big difference at all, one of them being that the Q, if you EQ, doesn't actually give a Conqueror stack, and another one being that Q didn't apply lifesteal only if you use it during your ult. This makes a very small difference. So the only 3 good bug fixes barely make a difference at all, except the one that was 1 month after release. Now, out of the total 16 bug fixes since her release, the 13 of them either affected her badly or made no difference at all. 2 of these bugs in specific were big nerfs to Samira, one of them being Prowler Claw not giving a passive stack anymore, but that got removed very long ago. Another one being that you would get a reset on your dash if you got a takedown on a clone and you didn't even actually need to get the last hit. So if you hit Wukong W before it expired, as soon as it expires you would get your dash back. But this is fair that they remove it, it shouldn't be in the game. So it's sad that they remove it because it's a big nerf, but I could understand that. However, Riot has taken it too far. Let me explain. 17 was an important number for XXXTentacion. This was because when he was 17 years old, he felt like he was enduring a lot of mental suffering. This number was so important to him that he got it tattooed on his face and he even named an album after it. Similarly, the 17th bug that Riot Games is fixing on Samira is causing me great pain. I discovered this bug that let you use W during your dash about 2 years ago, and using that bug, I invented a combo that would get past one of Samira's biggest weaknesses, being that you need to be in W range to get a quick combo off to get your ult fast. Not only was this my greatest contribution to the pioneering of Samira mechanics, but it also finally added a proper skill ceiling to Samira's mechanics. A lot of people consider Samira to be a noob champion, because you just stack your ult up during a team fight, and then at some point you go in and kill everyone. And for a large part this is true. It does not take a lot of skill to get your ult and to use your ult in a team fight and get a lot of kills with it. Because of this, there's the stigma that Samira requires no skill at all. And although the skill floor might not be that high, the skill ceiling is actually higher than you would expect. But out of all the Samira mechanics and combos, this combo was the hardest one as well as the most fun one. But them fixing this bug is not even my problem. My problem is that there have been over 20 bugs that have existed since her release that they still haven't patched, and as soon as Reptile makes one video on Twitter about this combo, it instantly gets patched. I'll quickly show off the most common and the most annoying bugs on Samira, but I'll go more in depth in a later video, also explaining how these bugs work. If you're a Samira player, I'm sure that you've had a lot of times where your E doesn't go off when you try to E on something, and you think it's because you're just a bad word. Well, there's actually 2 bugs that make your E not go off. The first one being that if you're not in range, and you need to walk to it for a while, then your character is gonna stop once it gets in range instead of actually dashing. It makes you look like a big ass retard. If you have your cursor over something, it indicates it, and if you have it on it, but slightly towards the edges, if you press E, it's not gonna go off. I don't know why this works this way. I don't know if this is specific to Samira E or if there's other abilities that have this. It's not even that far off the target, but it just refuses to go off. This happened to me so many times in actual games. I lose fights over it, I lose kills over it, I lose whole games over it. I have no clue why it works this way. On top of this, if you press EQ, your Q should follow your E and leave a trail of explosives behind you. But if you press EQ and you get a reset before your E is over, and you E again, then your Q will go on cooldown, but it will not do anything. Also, sometimes during your ult, it looks like you can actually use your Q, but if you try to press it, then it's gonna go on cooldown without being used. Like this. A similar thing can happen with your Q and your passive. If you try to Q a target and directly afterwards you try to proc your passive on that target, then often your passive will go on cooldown without being used, And if you try to proc your passive first and then Q the same target too quickly, then often your Q is going to go on cooldown without being used. These are only the most common and the most annoying bugs, but there's a lot more, and overall having this many bugs happen to you every single game, it's a terrible feeling. So I think that if they're going to remove such bugs that make Samira more fun to play and that make Samira better, then they should definitely be fixing these bugs that make her feel horrible to play.
Rhythm music. Party rhythm.